Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here today. It means a lot to me and to all of us in this fight. I pray that my message falls on open ears. My test on a study abroad trip my junior year of college in spring of 2012 to the Dominican Republic. The trip started off in a whirlwind of excitement and joy. The beaches were beautiful, the wildlife and nature was incredible, and the fresh fruit was amazing. I felt I had landed in paradise. My classmates and I were enjoying our courses, bonding together, and exploring the beautiful country. But paradise was soon lost, and things took a turn for the worse. My period was 2 weeks late, and I was seeing no signs that it would begin. I did feel something, however. I felt a small, faint knot. I had never felt this before. Was I pregnant? I thought of my boyfriend back home. Before I left, we had been taking risks and being reckless. What am I going to do? Fear and dread came over me. I decided the next step was to take a pregnancy test. At the time, the study abroad group and I were traveling into the countryside and staying at a hostel in the jungle. I had picked up the test along our travels, and once arriving at the hostel, decided I would take it in the morning. I woke up that morning in an anxious state, fearing what I would find out. I took the test, and it came back positive just as I had feared. I burst into tears and ran into my room and cried into the pillow. Some of the girls on the trip came over to comfort me, but were unsure just what to say. The same day, the group was planning on going on a waterfall hike led by our hostel host, Ariel. He was a local who was a pro at climbing the waterfalls and even did it with flip-flops on. I decided to go with the group despite what had just occurred that morning. While we were climbing up the waterfall, some of the students dropped off after the third or fourth one. A few students and I, however, decided to keep climbing with Ariel. As we were climbing on the side of the top of one of the waterfalls, my foot slipped on a rock and I fell in, going quickly towards the edge of a 20-foot waterfall drop. My life flashed before my eyes as the water rushed all around me, and I could not see an escape. I thought my life was over, but just as I was accepting my fate, Ariel came to rescue me and pull me out of the water off to the side. I gasped for air, panting and crying on the ground. Then a sense of overwhelming joy came over me. I thought I was going to die, and here I was, still breathing. I started to laugh and cry with joy. The sad thing is, I was completely blind to what God was trying to tell me. There I was, helpless and heading towards the edge, just like my unborn baby. Ariel was to me what I could have been for my baby, a vital lifeline of rescue, saving them from a tragic death. My joy soon turned to mourning as I boarded my plane to go back to the States for my scheduled abortion. Sadly, even a near-death experience was not enough to soften the hardness of my heart. It wasn't enough for me to see. During that time, I didn't have any voices around me to support me to keep my baby. Mostly everyone around me was telling me to get an abortion. I'm sorry, guys. Some said it was just a clump of cells, and others said that having a baby would ruin my career. Having an abortion felt like the only option, although there was actually one person who had a different view. Someone close to me said she felt God was telling her to tell me not to go through with the abortion. Unfortunately, at the time I didn't believe in God, and I didn't believe her. Instead, I got angry and thought she was being selfish. Little did I know this was the second time God was trying to wake me up, but again I was too deaf to hear. I was around 12 weeks pregnant, so I had to go into the clinic to get a suction abortion. I was unaware and uninformed of my baby's size as well as the details of the procedure. My memory of the event is still foggy and I was heavily sedated, but I do remember the sound of the machine. I remember the physician sucking out my baby, and I remember crying out in pain. I can't imagine the pain that my unborn child was feeling at that moment. It breaks my heart to think of it now. My baby sucked up like a piece of dust into a vacuum. I stayed at home for a few weeks after the procedure to recover. And after that, things went on as usual from the outside. I went back, I finished off my study abroad, I finished college, and I got my degree. I did all the things that I thought I couldn't accomplish if I had my baby, but all those things weren't worth what I had lost. It wasn't worth the life that I had taken. I became deeply depressed. It was all starting to hit me at once. What had I done? Fast forward to spring of 2018, almost 5 years after my abortion, something amazing happened to me. God interrupted my normal life. He showed me just how sinful I really was. And one night, alone in my apartment, I called out to Jesus and asked for his forgiveness. That prayer was all it took, and soon after that, I got baptized and gave my life to Christ. Now I live a new life, fully cleansed and forgiven from my past and empowered to serve. I often think of that day in the Dominican, the day I found out I was pregnant, and that same day that I almost lost my life. I was totally blind, and my heart was hardened. But now my story has been redeemed by God's grace, and my mistakes can be used to help others. I want to share the message of hope and healing to women who have gone through with the same decision that I made. And I also want to fight for those who have no voice, those whose precious lives are taken every day. I want to thank you all so much for being here and listening. I pray that our message today reaches your hearts and ears. While there is still breath in our lungs, we have the duty to do what is right, to protect the most vulnerable at any stage, and to bring an end to the violence. Let us be those who listen, those who do not harden our heart to the truth, those who hear the cry of the voiceless ones and respond. Thank you.